Okay, we're back in the garage today, and there's a couple of things I wanted to show you guys. And the first one is, what's on the workbench here is a bracket. This is a bumper bracket from a muscle car, from a Chevelle. And the reason I have these brackets off is to modify them to be able to align those bumpers perfectly. Those old muscle cars, as much as I love them, they weren't too concerned from the factory getting things perfectly aligned. But in order to get these brackets, the bumper to be able to move around a little bit, give me some leeway to get the alignment, I needed to modify these brackets. So this is an example of just one of the holes I worked with a particular power tool that I want to talk about. But can you see, if I keep my hands out of the way, I can now take this bolt, if you can picture it in the middle or wherever, and I can move it up and down. So even if it was in the middle, I can move it this way, and I can move it that way, and I can move it side to side. I have a lot of leeway there now. None of these holes were ever the same on any of the, from car to car they varied quite a bit, because some of them were just torched out, some of them were stamped out, but I now have leeway. I've gained leeway to be able to move that bumper wherever I want to, and that's going to give me what I need to do. And the tool I used to do that, which I'll get to in a minute, is something I wanted to bring up because I didn't always have one of these. To me, I didn't understand them. I thought, well, that's too specialized a tool for me. But before I show you that tool, let me move this bolt out of the way. This bracket here was painted with the Rust-Oleum line, their new professional line of spray paint. And I know you can't get the perfect look on camera. It's not the same as being there in person. So I mean, you'll have to take my word for it, because I'm in this to help people. That's why I'm doing these videos. But I gotta tell you, for something you can grab off the shelf at your local box store, Rust-Oleum, again, this is their professional line. They've had it out for 2 or 3 years now. It lays down, and if anybody's done any painting, you understand what I mean when I say it lays down flat. It really works well. It dries faster than their regular retail paint cans. This is a spray. And the spray tip, the spray nozzle they put on it is way better. I mean, it really sprays nice. I believe it puts less in the air and puts more on the part. But I've tried this a couple of times. The durability is excellent. The look is great. And for something in a pinch, or even just in a professional application where you don't need to have a 2-part or type paint and you don't want to get the sprayer out and go through all that. This is an excellent compromise, if you will, and I just thought I'd mention that right away. Now let me get the bracket out of the way, but keep in mind we're talking about what I did to open up these holes on several brackets, and the tool I used was this guy right here. This is die grinder, electric die grinder. I lived without one for a long time. I usually, if I needed something more specialized with metal, I took it to a machine shop. I even killed myself, for years with a file. I tried to use a mini angle grinder for a lot of the stuff, but boy, I was missing out. It's so much handier. You can do much more. And these electric die grinders, number one, they do make the ones for the compressors, and they are cheaper. But then you got to have the compressor running. You got to drag that with you if you have to, be anywhere outside of, where you normally keep your compressor. And this happens to be a Makita. This is a single speed, and I wasn't going after the brand Makita, but I did know I wanted something brand name. But I didn't want to spend more than $100, $150, and that was tough. This fit right into that price range, and the reason I didn't want to spend more than that is because this wasn't the tool that was going to get used every week. But I still wanted some reputation, some durability, some history to a company. And I know guys that have the whole collection of Makita tools, and they swear by them. So I thought, well, how can I go wrong? So far, I think I've not stumbled on it, but I think I selected the right one, because plenty of power. And when I say plenty of power, I don't just mean the speed of the tool, because all these spin pretty darn fast, 20 to 30,000 RPMs. This one has plenty of torque, meaning if you need it to work, it's going to do some pretty major work. And the balance of the tool, when you hold it, it balances in your hand really nice. And it's not a light tool. because it's built so heavy duty. It's got really hard case. It doesn't sound hollow. Again, this is a single speed. You can buy a multi-speed tool like this, and it is handy. It does come in, you know, a little handier, but boy, you're going to pay a lot more pretty fast. You're going to pay $200 and up. You're going to double the price pretty quick. I couldn't justify that for something I wasn't going to use frequently enough. So I wanted to show the tool that I think there's probably a lot of guys missing out on. Those brackets, modifying those brackets, it went so fast. It was, you know, not as quite as easy as, you know, as a flame on butter, but very quick. I could open up a hole, probably make it twice as big in just a matter of a couple minutes. And, you know, if you've got a gentle touch, you can make it look pretty darn good. Touch it up with a file, or even put in another tool into these. And speaking of the tool I used to open up those holes, that would be a barrel burr. A burr meaning there's little barbs on there, little teeth, and this is an exaggerated version of a barrel. This isn't the size I use. You always want to start smaller, because if you stick this into a hole that isn't big enough, if you I would say get off your mark a little bit, this can start bouncing around in there pretty quick. So if you have a smaller tool, you have more control. So you got to pick the size. But this is specifically for metal. This is a barrel burr. This goes into a hole or into a slot, and then you can move it around and change the shape of that hole. And with the right size and the right tool, you could make just about any shape you wanted. And I found that extremely handy. This is from a set that's, to tell you the truth, is a Chinese brand. And I thought I'd give it a try so that I could tell you guys about it, because I've heard, I did a lot of research, and you can spend $20 to $50 on just one of these. And that seemed, for certain projects, it might be worth it if you do a lot of work with a certain tool. But I thought, well, I'll give this a try. And I spent just over $40 for a set of 6 or 7, I think it is, several different sizes, all for, metal in this case, hard metal. And the tool that I used, which was a similar, the smaller version of this guy, it's still sharp. It might not be, 100% as sharp as it was, but it was still going exceptionally strong by the last hole. And I had just, a few less than a dozen to do. So I was going to throw that in the video, what brand, what set that I've had good luck with, just to start with. And I'll throw up that Makita Die Grinder model number. But a die grinder is an excellent addition to the power tool collection. If you don't have one, practice on some metal before you actually try to perfect a particular project, and get familiar with the tool, and it'll help out when you want to make that project perfect. But boy, saves a lot of time, might save money, having to run around to the machine shop, and it saves some wear and tear on your body. So, and meanwhile, we got the 3 bottles in the background there. Those are all paint protection products. And I wanted to talk about those in a particular video. Yeah, I'm kind of throwing a teaser in there because I don't have them aimed towards you, so you can't really see what brands they are. Now, there might be a few guys out there that might recognize the middle bottle just by some of the color coordinations, but there are brands out there that are deliberately trying to copy each other to take advantage of the other one's marketing. And so you never know, but those are 3 products that work. They're very easy to use. They have very different results, and the longevity, the durability and longevity of those 3 is fairly different. And I'd like to talk about those in a couple coming videos, so stay tuned.